All right. So this is a special episode of the ukuleles. I actually have my cousin, Sue Smey, here, and she is on Survivor. She is a badass girl, and I love it. So, welcome, Sue, to the ukuleles.
Thank you, Annmarie. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here with you. This is so fun. It's an honor to be doing this with you. So thank you for asking me.
No, it's an honor having you, and we really appreciate it. And the other girls couldn't be in here today because they all have some stuff going on. So I appreciate you meeting with me and going from there. So first, I would like to know how did you go about this? How did you get into saying I'm going to do Survivor?
Well, back when Survivor first started, we had probably four channels, five TV channels, maybe.
Yeah,
It just was different. And, Survivor came out, and that was the show to watch. So my whole family watched it. My siblings and my dad were very, very competitive. We're into sports. We're the type of people that love the outdoors, and this was something that was right up down our alley. We all used to always say when it first came out, we should, apply as a family to get out of the show and, do this, compete together. Fast forward, I never did. There's one point I remember wanting to shoot a video, and I had Chelsea, who was probably 7, my daughter, who's now 32. She shot a little video, but I never sent it in. And, life happened. My daughter got diagnosed with juvenile diabetes. Our world flipped upside down, and then, like, you just forget about it. Went through phases where I watched it, then phases where I didn't watch it, just things happen. And then a few years ago, Chelsea and I were both watching it again. And she called me one day and she's like, Mom, you should really just apply. Remember when you wanted to be on the show and you wanted to do something like this? And remember Grampy when we would have our bets and we're just talking about everything. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just show her more so. I wanted to apply because, first of all, I never thought I'd get on. But I wanted to show her, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to step out of the box, just set in an audition tape. And at least I showed her that you got to try. And
yeah,
that's all I expected. I remember even saying to her, Chelsea, at least we put it out there. It's into the universe's hands now. If the universe wants me to be on Survivor, I'll get a phone call. And then, literally, I don't even know, maybe a couple weeks later, they contacted me and they wanted, so what the first step is with auditioning for Survivor is you send in like a quick video something that grabs their attention. And, mine was pretty cool because one, I'm a grandma. I was flying my airplane
yep,
saying that, I'm a badass pilot. I own my own flight school. I'm 58 years old, blah, blah, blah. And I checked all the boxes. I think they needed the older woman.
yeah.
I always had that token older person. That was me. So it just fell into my lap perfectly. The casting process was very, very long. It's not just like a one and done. You're doing your first casting with, just their casting team, and then you're doing casting with, you go to Jeff, you do a Zoom with Jeff in his house, and if he likes you, then you move on to now, the Survivor team, and then CBS team, and then you go to the shrink. You have all these things going on, and lo and behold, I got the call to go in, and that's what happened. But my goal was to show her, and now everybody, especially people my age, that
Uh-huh.
it's never too late to do anything. Just, like, have the balls to just go for it, and age is a number that you want it to be. And, I don't feel like I'm 60 at this point. Yeah, I still feel much younger, and it was well worth it. So, yeah, Survivor was, my reason for doing it was basically to show my daughter that you just gotta go for things, and if it's supposed to happen, it happens.
I love it. So that was a long process. Like, how long would you say the whole thing actually took you?
So we went through the whole fall and winter, and then I think I had my final audition where they flew they picked the people they wanted for season 47 and 48. And then and so we were all on ice. No, we were all, secluded, nobody sequestered, nobody saw each other or anything. But you'd go down for a certain interview, you'd go down for a swim test. That was in LA. And then in 2 weeks, we got notified that we're going. And then we had probably 3 weeks before we were gone. So we had 3 weeks to basically get the clothes that they wanted us to get and hop on the plane and fly out there. So I would say the casting process was a good almost 6 months.
Wow. Okay. You just feel like,
Yeah.
when you're thinking about that as a person that's watching these is like a one and done type thing, but like you said, it's multiple instances, so
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, and even with Beast Games, like, I feel like I got on Beast Games because I had been on Survivor, but Beast Games, I know that the casting process was pretty large for a lot of the people as well. I didn't have that issue because of Survivor, I think, and I've already sort of been vetted. So, like, for me, it was one Zoom call with someone and they're like, "Okay, good," and then, that was it. But Survivor
Okay.
definitely Survivor takes it serious. Survivor, like, the exam you have to go through for the psychology part of it is, it's a 3-hour proctored exam. So
Oh,
what they
wow.
do is they set up the exam, or camera has to be on. They're watching you and they're watching everybody else do it, and and they have everybody muted. And so if you have a question, you can, ask them a question and they'll unmute you and you could speak to them and everything. All of us took the psych test together, and then you have a whole psych evaluation, and like it was really cool because, like, I think a lot of it is to make sure you're not a and to make sure, like, you know yourself, because there were a lot of, like, it was interesting, have you ever thought of, kill like, tons and tons of, like, all these weird, questions, which
Yeah.
I thought was fascinating. To me, it was so exciting, and, like, I love anything psychological and everything, so for me, it
Yeah.
was really fun, and that my assessment was really cool too. They think they said that I had I'm very feminine, but I have a very masculine internal being type thing or whatever. I don't know the psychological stuff, but like it was very
Okay.
cool to get your assessment. So I'm safe.
So you're good to go.
But like you've seen Survivor, like it gets rough out there, and you have to be someone that has it all with you because you never know
Yeah.
what could happen. Someone could just
Yeah.
break and then you'd be in trouble.
So I think one of my questions that I actually had was, what was the hardest part for you being there?
I would have to say when I stopped eating, what happens is when you stop eating, you stop being hungry. Like you're not craving food, but you lose those stomach aches, the pains and like the stomach growling. And but for me, not eating took away all of my strength and puts you like in almost like a zombie type state because your brain is just like always in a little bit of a fog. And I could feel my body withering every day, withering and withering. And then, when you get one reward and you eat one bite of real food, those hunger cravings start all over again. So it's almost like you're never going to turn down the food, but in the same breath, it's torture all over again, going through that phase of 3 days where you stop being hungry again. So I think the malnourishment was by far the hardest because it affected me so much physically and mentally. I would spend by the end so many days not exerting a lot of energy because I needed to save them for the challenges. So I
Right.
would do as little as possible physically, and just walking through the sand alone was so difficult. So I realized I needed to conserve as much of my calories in my body as possible because I wasn't getting anything. I ended up being almost 90 pounds. So
Wow.
I withered away to nothing. At the last I went to Genevieve had taken me and Teeny to the sanctuary. It was one of the last times, somebody was there, and their gift to us was a freaking scale and a mirror. And when I looked at myself in the mirror, I was so freaked out because I morphed into this real old lady, wrinkly skin. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I was just like, oh my God, I'm like, this is what the world is going to see me looking like. Is this like, it was horrible. So that was really tough. So I think it was more I could handle sleeping in the dirt, I could handle everything else that we went through, but the malnourishment was really, really a struggle for me.
And I'm sure that made it harder to do the challenges because, like you said, you had to conserve your energy to do those challenges. What was the hardest challenge that you had to do?
I think that one of the hardest challenges was actually early on when we had to do the boat challenge. Like I grew up with boats. I know how to sit in a boat. I know how to paddle a boat. Like a lot of I remember the people getting in our boat and like TK and a few people all just stood on one side and the boat just flipped. And I'm just like, what are they doing? Like, how do they not understand that this is what's gonna happen in our boat capsize? That was one of the hardest things because getting these boats are really heavy. Getting them out of the water and just up onto the beach was so difficult. And I think that was one of the hardest ones that always stuck with me. All the other ones were hard but they weren't. This one was something that had, something on top of just, running through the net and the mud. The mud sucked. Like this mud was horrible because it literally stuck to your eyes. You couldn't wipe your eyes because your hands were filled with mud. And,
Mm,
once I tried putting a buff over my eyes to protect them, and that didn't work. And by the end, I just wanted to just make it through to the challenges because, I was more embarrassed of just not being able to complete something because I was just so weak. But yeah, definitely that water one was really, really tough for me.
okay. Did you ever think, "No, I'm done"?
I was just like, "Bring me more, motherfucker." Sorry, it's just a family thing.
No, you can swear,
I'm
we're
just like,
explicit, so
"Bring
it's
me
okay.
more." Like, is this
Yeah.
you can bleep me out, right?
No, no, you don't well, I mean, I
Did I
probably could
lose
bleep
you?
you out, but you don't have to, we're explicit. So, we have that little
Okay,
seal
yeah,
that
like,
allows
this is
everyone to
just who I
swear.
am,
Yeah.
it's me being raw and being,
No, so if
who I
you
am.
yeah, if you listen to our
No, I
podcast
wanted
ever
more, 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 more.
yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me?
What is there anything that you 'cause, is there anything that you can tell us of, like, what we didn't see that maybe you think would be interesting?
Well, here's something that I can tell you. I can't accuse because I don't know for sure. And I did ask production to go into the cameras and review the tapes to see. But when we first got there, I don't know if you remember, after about 2 days in, me and TK were not getting along.
Yes.
And it was just something that I knew only because Gabe had told me TK, they have a bromance and they're gunning for me or Caroline. And I knew it was gonna be me because I'm the oldest person, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, screw that, like I'm gonna go after him. Um, I would say the next day, like then it started not being so good in our camp. And we all had done a water challenge and so you're soaking wet and I wore Timberland boots.
Okay.
And we all had challenge sneakers. So I'd taken my challenge sneakers and put them. We had our fire. I put them on the stones around the fire so they would dry overnight. I woke up the next morning and one was missing
Mm,
and nobody knows where it is. And I slept next to the fire, so there was no way anything else could happen other than someone reaching over, grabbing it, and probably throwing it deep in the woods or in the ocean or something. I don't know for sure who did it, but like, so that's why you'll see every challenge that I did to do it in Timberland work boots while everyone else had to do it in, their comfortable sneakers. So that's something
mm.
that, like, not too many people know, and I can't accuse anybody because I don't know, and we actually even at one point, we were all doing something, and everybody's just like, "TK, you got her sneakers, right?" He's like, "No, no, no," so he denied it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. But that's
Okay.
something that,
That's
I
interesting.
did feel. Yeah, and I did feel like when I left for there, I thought that maybe off camera, there'd be a little hut that would have, like, a mirror and toothpaste and a brush. I literally was just thinking, "There's no way that we're gonna arrive here and have nothing." And
Yeah.
we arrived there, freaking had nothing, like, we had nothing. So, that was really it was a shocker to realize that, arrive on this island and you're like, "Okay, well, what are we gonna do next?" And we literally had to like my goal was shelter and fire because I did not want any rain coming on us. So you just literally you get there on a blank slate and you start. So there's nothing there for you. They leave you nothing.
Wow.
So it's pretty interesting.
That is interesting because you often like, I know as a person that's watching, I'm like, "How much of this is real?"
It's real, real to
It's
the
all real.
bones. It's real. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, cool.
The one cool thing that too I could tell you is like, before every challenge and after every challenge, you mandatory had to go see the medic. So
Okay, that's
and
good.
yeah, so and you buy, usually, we all have little tiny injuries, but I'd be like, "Hey, do you have any, chocolate chip cookies?" "No, I ate them all." "Okay, bye." Like that was my like you have to like pop your head in, and if you have an issue, then they'll help you. And the one very cool thing that I have so much respect for them is they do have a woman that's in with the medic, and if you are ever feeling there's some sort of sexually any kind of abuse or you're feeling threatened, you can speak to her and no one will ever know because she's sitting in there with the medic and then she would take you aside. Nobody ever did that, but I like that they protect you, especially the women.
Yeah.
Can you hear my dog barking?
Well, that's fine. It's
I
fine.
I love that they have that for everyone for your own protection, and we were not allowed to sleep next to each other. We had to have a bamboo partition separating us at all times. That was and even if you were like Gabe used to go to the beach to sleep, he had to bring his partition. The rule was the partition is always to your left. So if someone came down, they always had to sleep, there's always a partition between each other. So I found that was really, really, I think, a really cool safety measure that they did and that they instill as their rules, which I have a high respect for them being able to do that. And you're always on cameras anyway, all night long. You're being recorded, but the fact
Yeah.
that they have these rules up is really, really huge.
Yeah, that's actually, comforting to know that because I have often wondered that, and maybe that's just the way my nurse practitioner brain works, but I have wondered, is it safe? How does that work? Is there medics? Is there no medics? So that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Shrink is there at all times too. The shrink's on the mainland, like the medic's on the mainland. Nobody's on the island with us, just the
Okay.
cameras and the handlers. But so they're all a phone call away. That's why even this one season when you saw the guy, he got bit by the snake, there's no medic close by. They're either bringing the medic in or you're
Yeah.
going to the medic. They have when you go to any competition or tribal or anything, you're seeing the medic at all times. So
Okay,
it's pretty
cool.
cool.
Awesome. So, when you were done filming and you returned home, what was that like for you?
It was really difficult. I didn't expect I would say I had so another cool thing is that they mandatory make every cast member have to have a Zoom meeting with the shrink once a month for minimum 6 months. And
Okay.
which is really good. And some people needed it longer. They were willing to give you as much time as you needed, for any kind of help and therapy. But the first 2 weeks home were brutal emotionally and mentally for me. I think it takes it what how it affected me was you're in that fight or flight mode and you sleep it you don't realize how tense you are even when you're there. Like when we had merged and I heard, people you hear people whispering and you know that they don't like you and that they're trying to figure out how to get you out. Like you're constantly in a fight or flight mode. And coming home 2 weeks mentally was I just needed sleep. I just needed, like, to be alone, downtime, and then I was really good. I even told the shrink, I'm like, "No, I'm good, my I just need to sleep." Like, I knew I was okay, but I needed to, like, catch up. Physically, it took me 2 months before I went back to the gym. I was so
Okay.
weak and yeah, so that was really tough, and that was, very, trying to gain weight. I was sucking down tons of protein drinks and doing everything I could just to gain, healthy, fat back and everything. So it was definitely a good 2 months before I went back to start playing racquetball.
Wow. Okay. So you would say you felt normal roughly 2 months after being home.
Physically,
Yeah,
yes, yeah,
physically.
physically.
Mentally also or mentally sooner?
Well, mentally was 2 weeks, I was good. Mentally, I was
Okay,
2 it
good.
took me 2
Good.
weeks to just chill. Yeah, and, look, I turned 59, so it could have been, my age, that I don't bounce back the way these young kids do, and I'm sure a lot of them were, up and back and running after a week they could have been. For me, it definitely, took me longer, and again, I was there the longest, me, Sam, Rachel, and, like Jen like the last, teeny there was a few of us that were the whole time, so we didn't get the food and we didn't get the nourishment and, until the last few days. So, yeah, so everybody else I think were probably okay.
Good. All right. So a couple of closing questions. What was your favorite thing you ate after filming?
Well, so when you get done, we had our finale, and then they sent us to Ponderosa. So when me, Rachel, and Sam arrived, everybody was there. They had like a long table filled with tons of food. They said, "Order anything you want." I ordered spaghetti, meatballs, French fries, chicken wings, and a banana split. I could
Yummy.
hardly eat. any of it. Like, I literally it's weird because your stomach is just so weird and messed up that you can't eat it. You think you can. I couldn't even finish my banana split, and I've never not finished my ice cream. So I would say the out of all of them, the banana split, like, I craved that so much when I was, out filming. So probably the banana split was my favorite.
I love ice cream, so I'm right there with you. What is one thing that you will never take for granted again?
Family, my family. I can't it hit me and, like, I'm close with my family, I love my family, it made me appreciate my little moments with my daughter and my grandson and my mom and, like, it's weird because I am a family person and I love my family, but it made me really, really appreciate them and value them even more and not take them for granted.
Would you do it again?
100%, without a
Yeah?
doubt.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Good.
not e yeah, n like, I didn't get asked back for 60 or for 50, so I'm pretty sure I'm out of the running. When I went back on Beast Games and we did the Survivor crossover,
Mhm.
like, when I got back there, it was the same crew. They actually had to hide the crew, and they had to change so many things because they didn't want me to recognize and figure out what we were doing, but doing another Survivor challenge was just so thrilling, and I'm just like, "Man," like, if I could
Brought
only
back
been
memories.
younger yeah, so, I would never say no. No, anybody in their right mind would never, ever, ever, ever say no, to coming back. It's like
You
having a
have
kid, it sucks when you're going through it and you're just like, "Never freaking again," and then
yes.
you're just like, "Oh, I love him so much," and you sort of forget the pain or how annoying it was that you couldn't sleep and all the bullshit that comes with it, then you're like, "Okay, I'll do it again," because
Yeah.
because you forget, and then you go back, you do it again, and you're like, "Ugh, what's the matter with me?" But
Yeah.
yeah.
I can honestly say for me, it was Hudson, and I was like, "Never again." So,
Right.
I just did the
Yeah,
one and
so you
done.
know. Exactly, exactly, same. I had Chelsea and I'm done, but you forget it how hard
You
it
do.
was or
Yeah.
whatever, how much it sucked. For me, it sucked.
What are some things that we have to look forward from you in the future?
Okay,
Before I
so,
forget, before you answer that, one question I wanted to ask before we jump into that other question is, how did you get Tsunami?
that was an internet thing that happened, and my good friends, Nick and Josh from Reality Podcast were the people who came up with the name Tsunami, and they rolled with it, and it just became a thing, and they're such good friends of mine now, and I join their podcast a lot.
Yeah,
Um, so shout out to Reality Check Podcast. They're just really good friends. But that's
awesome.
how it came. It's just and then once they started it going, Chelsea and I had read it, and she's like, "Oh my God, look what they're calling you." And I'm like, you know what? I like that. So some other people were Survivor. Like one of my girlfriends made me a necklace, and it's Survivor. But like
Cute.
you can't really. But like the tsunami thing just took off, and that was
Yeah.
it. It's sort of fun, like why not?
Yeah,
So
and I feel like, I didn't I grew up with you, but I didn't grow up with you. We saw each other's holiday parties, things like that. I feel like it fits you, a tsunami. I
thank
think it's
you.
badass that that's what you are. You're fantastic. I wanna be you when I grow up.
Well, look, you're not doing so bad either. I'm really proud of you for what you've become too and what you do.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
that
Alright,
it's
so
just
now
really
tell me what you've got going on in the future that we can look forward from
okay.
you.
So I just, as you know, I finished Beast Games
Yep.
season 2, and that really opened a lot of doors for me. That got me 2 different management companies, like agents type thing that
Yeah,
want to work with me and they're looking to get me into more shows this summer. So we're working on that. I also met someone who I'm now the ambassador for smart swimsuits. And
nice.
I walked Fashion Week runway show and I walked in Las Vegas. And now I'm going to be heading to Miami June 27th, I believe, to do the Miami Fashion Week runway show. And they've also offered me Italy. So it looks
Woo!
like I'll be doing a little for my 5'1", a 61-year-old person. I'm be doing, having a little modeling career for a little while, but You know what? You just gotta say yes, and that's why I keep telling Chelsea, just keep saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
So right now, that's really it. I'm waiting for different offers and things to come in, and in the meantime, I've been writing a memoir, which I'm really excited about, and I have a wonderful editor who's helping me and working with me, and that's what I'm doing on my downtime is just trying to soak all of this in. Like it's just
Yeah.
been my life has changed for nothing but the better. It's I feel like the older I get, the more adventurous I get, the more wild my life is, and it's like so I wanna be that inspiration for everyone my age and older, and even younger, that
Yeah.
we're on this earth one time, like, just live it up, do everything you wanted to ever do, and do things that you never thought you could do, 'cause anything's possible. If I can get on Survivor, I can get on Beast Games, I can walk in runway shows, like, legit, real runway shows,
Yeah.
there's testament enough to tell people that there's nothing holding you back but yourself.
That's awesome. I'm very proud of you and all that you've accomplished. I know that even when you
Thank
were
you.
just starting, like, your pilot license, I remember talking to my mom going, "Man, that is awesome." I mean,
Yeah. You know,
kudos.
and that was, like, part of it, I just really I have it in my memoir, like, it was just I came to the point where, I'm having to now think of retirement age and what am I gonna do, and I'm like, "What can I do that will be fun and exciting?" I've always been a thrill seeker, an adrenaline
Mhm.
junkie, so for me, this was right up my alley, just becoming a pilot and then, buying airplanes, starting a flight school, and it just
Mhm.
ever since I started saying, "I'm gonna just put it all in on me," like, my life has just been incredible. So,
Awesome. I'm
that's it.
so glad that this is the route that you were able to go with this, you're
Thank you.
so wonderful, that's awesome, congratulations on
Thank you.
everything, and I wish you nothing but the best, and hopefully we'll see each other in July for
I
fireworks.
know, I know. I'm gonna try. I think, I'm gonna try. I have to see is all if I'm in town. Like, it's all gonna be depending if I'm away filming. So,
Awesome.
yeah, I've got my foot in the door in a few potential shows, and all the shows filming in the summer. So, it'll all be depending on what I'm personally doing, work-wise.
Well, no one's gonna hold it against you if you're not there because this is very important and what you're doing, and I appreciate you taking your time to sit with me, and thank you so much for
Anytime.
everything, and tell
You're
everyone where
welcome.
they can follow you.
Oh, they can follow, it's really bad because my daughter does all of this. My Instagram handle is Sue Smey S47, I think, for Survivor
I think that's
47,
right,
so I think
yeah.
it's Sue. Yeah, and I think just Sue Smey I don't even know. It's really bad.
No
I don't know.
worries. Well, you're not supposed to know. I think that's why you got people to
Yeah,
help you with that.
yeah.
You
Well,
got a
my
lot going
daughter's
on in your plate.
What
We'll
yeah, my
tag you in
daughter's
all this
so
stuff,
good at
though.
doing. Yeah, and I like that, it's really built her and I as, like I consider her, like, my number 1, she's my girl, and she just takes care of everything, she sets all my appointments, and she runs my calendar, and it's, like,
Yeah,
such a blessing to have this relationship with my daughter, like, it's me and her, but that now it's, like it's a different level of where we're at, and, like, we speak so many times a day, it's just insane, and it's like a dream come true, dream come true for me and her to be where we're at in our relationship as a mom and daughter, and now as like I consider her my business partner because
that's
she's just
awesome.
my right hand. So
That's
I'm
so
blessed.
good.
I feel everything. My life is just blessed, 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 and I'm so
Yes,
grateful.
yes. Well, thank you so much again for hanging out with me, and I appreciate this. We will be up on YouTube with this, so we'll make sure that you get tagged and all the things too. And again, I
Thank you.
appreciate
Yes.
you so much.
And good luck with this podcast. I'm so excited. Just keep on going and enjoying it and having fun and keep
Thank
bringing
you.
on all the cool people you want to bring on and just share everything with the world. This is what it's supposed to be done, how
Yeah,
it's
thank
supposed
you
to be
so
done.
much. We are having a good time with it, and we're trying to get more video and stuff up. So you're actually going to be our first, so we're really excited about it.
Well, I'm excited. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And the best of luck to you and the ukuleles. How'd you get that name? I need to ask.
Okay, so we got that name because you know how your car talks back to you if you have like a newer car and like it's Siri through the car, right? Your
Yeah.
iPhone. And I was trying to tell my girlfriends, me and Ashley, that I was going to be late. We were meeting somewhere and I was running late because I had to travel from work. And I said, "Hey ladies, I'm on the way." And all of a sudden I start getting text message back, "I also like ukuleles." And I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" So when I got
Yeah.
there, I was like, "Why are you guys talking about ukuleles?" They're like, "You said I like ukuleles in the text message."
Oh my god.
But I said, "No, I said, 'Hey, ladies,' to my text message." So that's what happened when you voice a text and you don't proofread, it sends some weird stuff. So that's
Exactly.
how we became the ukuleles, and we just ran with it.
I love that. I love that. That's so cool and
Thank
unique
you.
and you guys, right? It's like exactly probably who you are. So
And we
I
actually
love
bought a
that. Good for
ukulele.
you.
So
Did you?
I don't know how to play it, but we
Can you
bought
play?
one.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe
Well, at
one
least
day.
you're one step you eventually you're gonna have to make your intro be you on your ukuleles, all of you. That'd be really
Yes.
cool.
I'm gonna write a song for that one day, and
There
then
you go.
we'll
All about the ukuleles. It's a traveling sisterhood. The traveling pants of the sisterhood or whatever, you could do the ukuleles.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, something like that. We'll be Sisterhood of the Ukulele.
That one yeah, there you go. There you go. I love that. Well, good for you, and thank you again for having me.